Somewhere in the infinity of space there exist, as any student of probability will tell you, countless worlds like our own. Take, for example, the planet Tharg, 8 million light years from here. Tharg looks identical to Earth. It even has its own British Isles, its own England, its own London. What's different about Tharg, however, is the way it sounds. Put bluntly, there is something very odd about Tharg's music. This oddness is perhaps best illustrated by looking at the sad tale of Felix Fallop, a modest little man with ambitions to be a songwriter. We join him and his wife on the occasion of the world premiere of Felix's first major work.
I have searched my whole life through from Leeds to Timbuktu, but ever since my search began, I have never found someone as beautiful as you. I love you, Cheryl, let me be your man. Cheryl, Cheryl, Cheryl of the charming chins, every time you show your shins and all. You don't like it?
It's very beautiful, Felix.
No, you don't like it.
I do. I think it's the most beautiful song I've ever heard. It's just that I'm not called Cheryl.
Ah, well, that's alliteration, you see. It's Cheryl of the charming chins. I could change it to Dorothy if you like. It's just...
So there isn't a Cheryl?
No.
Play it again, Felix.
By morning, Dorothy has persuaded Felix that he is a musical genius and that their song should be shared with the rest of Tharg. Keyboard on shoulder, he sets off through the streets of Tharg's London in search of a publisher.
Hello.
No, hello. Would you like to take a seat?
Oh, thank you.
What can I do for you?
I've written a song.
A what?
A song.
Ah, a song. Oh, well, well, well. And?
And, I'd like you to publish it.
Just that?
Just that.
No, fine. Of course. No, I'm sorry. I thought for a moment you wanted me to,
I'd like to be a songwriter.
You would? No, fine. If that's what you want, I'll do what I can. Make a demo.
Thank you.
Get it to the right people.
Right. 2, 3, 4. Cheryl, Cheryl, Cheryl of the charming chins. Okay? Okay. 2, 3, 4. Cheryl, Cheryl, Cheryl of the charming chins, every time you show your shins, an orchestra of violins begins and...
As soon as they've finished recording Cheryl, Felix and Frank Dirge set about distributing copies of the tape to artists and agents. The response is instant and overwhelming. Cheryl of the Charming Chins is an overnight sensation. Within days, it's been recorded in 23 languages and topped the charts all round the world.
Cheryl, Cheryl, Cheryl of the charming chins.
No fewer than 7 newly independent states adopt it as their national anthem.
An orchestra of violins begin.
Crooners choose it to close their acts in Las Vegas. Sweethearts dance till dawn to it. and middle-aged rockers use it to launch their annual comeback tours. And when Winter Olympics are staged, ice skaters compete with each other to include it in their acts. People who should know better sing it in 1,000 pubs, from Uxbridge to Ulaanbaatar.
With a carol of the charming cheer.
Cheryl is clearly the hit of the century. Felix assumes, not unnaturally, that he is now a wealthy man.
You'd better sit down.
In due course, he drops in on Frank Dirge to check on the state of his newfound fortune. He was about to find out just how odd Tharg's music business was.
I thought you knew. There isn't any money.
But
It's an easy mistake to make. I made it myself when I first went into the business. Like you, I assumed that, well, when people used a piece of music, they paid for it. Some for you, a bit for me, that sort of thing. But they don't. Very disappointing things, people. Not that it's their fault. I mean, half the time, they don't know who to pay. There's no system, you see. I mean, in my grandfather's time, we sold sheet music. There's no call for it anymore, which is why no one writes music these days. I mean, that song of yours, Beryl of the Watsits, must be the first new tune that anyone's written in, what, 50 years?
so the only reason they're so keen on it...
Because there's no competition. I'm afraid so. I mean, it's not a bad song.
Oh, well, why do you still do the job, then?
Oh, I often ask myself the same question. Big blow. That's it. I mean, in theory, it's rather an interesting job, rather useful, in fact. Helping young composers to earn a living, looking after their interests so that they can concentrate on what they do best. Only I was like you see. I didn't realize about the money either. I assumed people got paid if their work was performed. In a just world, they would. But they don't. Still, it's not a bad job. Comfy chair, central heating. Phone doesn't bother me much.
So you mean all these weeks you've just been sitting here?
Hold on, old boy.
Not even try. I mean, that's supposed to be your job, isn't it? Collecting money for clients?
I've tried, believe me, I've tried. There isn't any. It's hopeless. People laugh at you.
Hold on, where are you going?
To get my money. Because if you can't, I will.
And so Felix sets off in search of his missing royalties.
Cheryl, Cheryl, Cheryl of the charming cheers.
Tracking down people who are using Cheryl is easy enough.
Your shins.
But extracting money from them proves more of a problem.
Cheryl of the charming cheers.
All day he treks from place to place, arguing, begging, persuading, all to no avail. The world he discovers is a cruel, chaotic place, inhabited by people who are by turns indifferent, ignorant, and sometimes just plain dishonest.
What did you say your name was?
Fallop. Felix Fallop.
There are, for example, plagiarists about.
But it's the same song. I wrote it.
Can you prove it?
Yes. No.
Even honest citizens are no more helpful.
Carol, Charlotte, Cheryl. Cheryl with the comely calves.
Felix is initiated into the benignly puzzling bureaucracies of Tharg's broadcasting organisation.
No, it's Cheryl of the Charming Chins. You television and radio people use it all the time.
Oh, I'm sure we do, and it's not that we don't want to pay you, mister.
Ballot.
We broadcast hundreds of hours a week of music, all of it apparently written and published by different people. We don't know who to pay or where they live or how much to pay them for that matter. Frankly, I suspect most of them are dead. Do you know, I've got 500 girls working 12-hour shifts and we're barely up to date with 1937. Now, look, if you were to come back in, say, 15 years or so.
Tharg's publicans also have better things to do with their time than pay composers.
Good afternoon, Squire. Can I get you something?
Yes, I'd like some money, please, for the song. I wrote it.
Felix Fallop? What, here, in my pub? Hey! This is Felix Fallop. And he wrote Cheryl with the thingamby what's it? Well, blow me down. What did you say you wanted?
Money.
Money? Money? No. Padre, you've come to the wrong shop. Try the bank across the road. It's just by the laundromat.
No, I want some money from you. I'm collecting my royalties.
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Hunter?
Give me one good reason why I should pay you.
I'm entitled to it.
Says who?
I do.
Well, I say you're not. Time, gentlemen, please. And should I tell you why you're not?
Please.
Because I'm bigger than you.
Oh.
By evening, Felix is a beaten man. There is, he realizes sadly, no justice for composers on Tharg. But what can one man hope to achieve in the face of such global indifference? That night, Felix had a dream. His mind traveled 8 million light years through space to a planet called Earth, to a country where composers and publishers had a fair deal, to the doors of an organization called the Performing Right Society.
Morning, Mr. Dirge.
Morning, Ray.
And there with him was his old friend, Frank Dirge.
Who are they? Do you work for them?
No, they work for us. Come on in.
Felix knew he must be dreaming. Here it all was, an organization called the Performing Rights Society, which looked after the whole business. PRS, Frank explained, made sure writers and publishers got paid. It registered who'd written what, issued licenses to people who wanted to use music, negotiated tariffs, the lot. Not just in Britain either. PRS had reciprocal arrangements with other organizations all round the world, so that British songwriters were paid if their music was played abroad, and vice versa, of course. All this meant that they administered the works of over 500,000 composers.
Wait a minute. How?
Good, old-fashioned, computerized hard work, mostly. Give me the name of a living composer.
There aren't any.
Well, not on Tharg there aren't, but there are plenty here. More than 12,000 in the British Isles alone. Heaven knows how many in other countries. Let me think. Michael Barclay. There. Name, publisher, list of his works.
You wrote that?
Yeah.
Can they pay you?
Yes. You get royalties on these PRS statements, and they tell you how much you've earned, where the piece was played, how long it lasted, and it can vary. A symphonic piece of music, that was just the brass section of a symphonic piece of music, can be, well, there's one here, several £100s. But a small piece for guitar, for example, there's one in the Wigmore Hall, £7.81.
That's not a lot, is it?
Most composers who write for the concert hall have to do something else to make a living. These royalties are terribly important to keep you going, to buy the time to work, but most of us have to do something.
This is good. Give me another.
Ralph McTell. There.
So how can you tell me that you're lonely and you say for you that the sun don't shine? Oh, let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind.
Excuse me, Ralph. What are your main markets?
England, Canada, America, Australia, and mainland Europe.
And they pay you, do they?
Yep, regular as clockwork.
It's unbelievable.
Cheryl of the Charming Chins. Here we are. Felix Fallop, Holyrood Crescent, Penge, published by Jingle, Crotchet and Dirge.
How do they do it?
Do what?
Get the money.
All sorts of ways. This is Tony. He's a PRS license inspector. Covers...
Surrey, West Sussex.
Doing what?
Issuing licenses. Anywhere that uses music. Bingo halls, cinemas, discos. Once they get the license, well, they can use more or less any music they want. And all year round if they want it. And for a single fee.
And they don't mind paying?
Not really. Not if you take the trouble to explain.
What do I need a performing right license for, anyway?
Well, you use music here, don't you?
Music? Any of that. Can't stand the stuff.
You sure?
Would I tell a lie?
Behind you.
Oh, that kind of music. Oh, I thought you meant...
The radio.
Yeah.
You need a license for that, too. And for the TV.
Well, I told you I got one of them.
Oh, no, he
hasn't.
Oh, yes, he has.
Not a TV license. That only covers you while you're at home. You need a performing right license to use music in public. Radio, TV, jukebox, tape deck, live show.
Don't tell me that Paul McCartney needs the money.
Does Guinness? For every Paul McCartney or Elton John, there are thousands of composers you've never heard of. Most of them earn very little money.
Well, that's just maybe. Doesn't mean to say I've got to go out and buy a license.
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, no, it... Does it?
Copyright Act.
Need a license to breathe next.
Not at all. Just keeping you out of trouble. And offering you the right to use as much music as you want.
How much?
Not very much money. What have you got? A radio, a TV, and a live show on Fridays.
A month?
A year.
Oh, you've got to be joking. How many that for?
And so they both lived noisily ever after.
Okay, well, time for a quick time check. Time coming up to 3:30. It'll be time to get on your feet, settle back, stay alive, and wash the cat. Dear, there's a 47-mile tailback on the M25. Almost time for the recipe. But first, clear your ears, unplug your lungs, and take a listen to this.
What, these people log all the music that they play, do they?
Of course.
How do PRS know they're not cheating?
They check, Frank explained. PRS has its own monitoring department, which checks the output of both radio and television companies, just in case.
Well, where to next? Registrars, member relations, licensing, documentation, distribution, foreign relations, or the team advising other countries how to set up their own societies, or those administering musical scholarships and awards, or the members' fund staff dealing with benevolent work, or we could pop down the road to the tribunal, where disputes over tariffs get resolved by independent arbitration.
Listen, I'd love to, but it's a bit...
Or fancy a trip outside London. There's a growing number of regional offices.
I can't. I'm due to wake up in 10 minutes.
Of course you are. So am I, come to that. Hold on a sec. One for you, one for me. Royalties. Quarterly distribution.
Hooray.
Was something wrong?
No, not really.
Oh, dear. I thought you knew.
Well, it's just that I thought that...
I thought there was a fortune to be made out of writing music. People do. Well, there is. If you're Eric Clapton or Andrew Lloyd Webber. But alas, not for most of us. This mob have more than 20,000 members in Britain and Ireland, and 85% of them earn less than £1,000 a year from music performance. Pathetic, really. However, I'm told that somewhere in the galaxy of Trinkota, there's a planet where composers earn real money. Trouble is, it also rains cold porridge 3 times a day, and there are 39 men for every woman.